Well, here we go again, another tag video, one that I was not tagged in at all.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, enough self-moping on that. Hit the button. Let's get started. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, the horror host of Generations X, Y, and Z inside Davis Manor with a Killer Flicks tag video, and I have to say, I love tag videos. They are kind of like my Scare Actor Q&As. Well, I mean, sort of. It's a Q&A, but it's more based on horror stuff rather than Scare Actor stuff. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say Scare Actor Q&A, let me pause for self-promotion. Go ahead and click that link above. It is a playlist of all of my Scare Actor Q&As. Basically, I get to describe and shed a little light on what it's like being a scare actor and what it's like working for a place like Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. Definitely worth taking it out if you enjoy haunted attractions and if you've ever been to HHN. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm a little biased because it's my videos. But anyways, this is a Killer Flicks tag video. So let's talk about Killer Flicks real quick before we get into it. Killer Flicks. The tag video was created by my good friend, my friend that I have never met, but we talk online. His name is Lee McCoy, and he has a YouTube channel. It is called Drumdums. It is an excellent channel. Go ahead, check out the description box below. I'm going to put a link in there. If you have not seen his channel, check it out. He's got tons of videos, tons of movie reviews, a whole bunch of other stuff. The man knows his movies. The man enjoys movies, especially when it comes to horror films as well. So, he has created this tag video. It is called Killer Flicks, and it is based off of, the name is based off of, the Facebook group that he created. There are thousands of people that are on this this group. It is a great group. It is a closed group, so you have to request to get on there. With that, I will say this. Killer Flicks, which you might be watching this right off of Killer Flicks right now because I post on that group page as well. They are the most interactive group I think I have ever seen on Facebook. Everybody there enjoys horror movies, but they enjoy movies in general. But basically, it's a horror movie group with that. Now, before we begin, a big old shout out goes to the patrons of the channel. If you're interested in the show, or if you want to be a part of it, maybe even want to be a part of the future projects that I create, or even have bragging rights by telling your friends that you helped create the things that I am making. Well, that's good, because I want you to join the show. And all you have to do is click the link above, or the one in the description box, or at the link at the end of the video, and check out the Patreon page, just like these great people. And when you get there, you're going to see different tiers on there, which different rewards on there, where you can go ahead and you can snag some official ARD merchandise. That's right. You can also be part of a hangout where we chat about horror, maybe even that I create a character that is based off of your own likeness for a future project. There's a lot of different things that you can do on there. Plus, you can go ahead and check out all the future goals that I got on there, different things that I got planned for the channel, to include some minions that are going to be on the channel, as well as short films, much, much more. But this is a Killer Flicks video, so let's get into it, and here is the first question. Who is your favorite vampire character, performance, etc. in a Killer Flick? Well, my favorite vampire character is not a character from a flick itself. It's actually from a TV show, and that would be Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, if we're talking about a performance of a vampire, I'm going to go with Gary Oldman. That's Gary Coleman. Gary Oldman from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Or even Kiefer Sutherland from The Lost Boys. The next question is, what was the very first Killer Flick that opened your eyes to the world of horror? Opened up my eyes to the world of horror, I'm going to have to say that it was Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I got a chance to see that, and it made me look at horror movies in a different way. And actually, that was what really inspired my love of slashers, was because I got a chance to say to myself, hey, look, they're slashers, and they're coming back and everything. I mean, Halloween 1 and 2, Michael's story was pretty much done. Halloween 3, it was a different movie. Halloween 4 brought him back. Now, he hasn't been the first slasher that was brought back from the brink of death or anything like that, but it made me actually look at horror in a different way, and it got me excited to see more horror movies. The following question is, what's a really standout geographical setting for a killer flick? I.e., the thing is set in Antarctica. Any you really remember and love for being so original? I loved the whole plot synopsis and the execution of the movie called 30 Days of Night. If I remember correctly, it took place in an Alaskan town called Barrow, I believe. It was filmed in New Zealand, but the movie took place in Alaska. And the concept is that there is a point in time in Alaska where it is dark for 30 days. The sun doesn't come up. So what would it be like being in a town with vampires that don't have to rest or go back into their coffin because the sun is out? It's always night. At least for a month. The next question is, what killer flick are you embarrassed to say you love? Well, I have to say that I'm not embarrassed to say that I love any particular movie or not, though I have gotten a little bit of heat for saying that I really enjoy A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Now, why? Because it's so bad it's good. That is why. It is just a straight up bad movie. And if you want to know, let me pause for self-promotion. I did a review recap react of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. If you have never seen any of my review recap reacts, it is basically me doing a complete breakdown of the movie, recapping everything and poking fun at it as it goes on. Why do I do that? I tease the things that I love. If you have never watched any of my Walking Dead videos, again, I tease the things that I love, I break them down, and there is plenty of material for A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. So, that's my answer. Going to the next question, there are a lot of killer flicks out there based on true events. Do you have a favorite, and how accurate do you think that story is? I did enjoy the original Amityville horror movie. It was fairly accurate to the book, which was fairly accurate to the original story, though they did have to Hollywoodize it a bit. And the next question is, what director would you like to see crossover franchises and make a killer flick? Example, Rob Zombie doing a Friday the 13th film. Well, a director that crosses franchises. I don't know too many directors that have stuck with a franchise and only a franchise. I mean, other than maybe like Wes Craven with Nightmare on Elm Street, but even he didn't stick with the entire franchise on that. Maybe Mancini with Chucky. I think he's probably the only guy, well, I mean, wrote-wise, he created it, and he's written all of those. So it's very hard to say maybe a director that has only done one to cross over to another one. I would say maybe a director that has done a horror film, and I'd like to see him do another horror film in a different franchise. I will say Steven Spielberg. What? Steven Spielberg's done horror movies? Yeah, a little thing called Jaws. That's a horror movie. If you don't think so, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Now, if I was going to put Steven Spielberg into a franchise that I would enjoy to see his take on, that would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wow, I would just love to see how he breaks down the psychological aspect of all the characters and the victims at the same time. Bringing us to the next question is this. What killer flick movie was the toughest to watch? Examples, Triangle, Inside, Salo, Audition, etc. Oh, that horror movie, etc. No, wasn't quite sure actually how this question meant at first. I was thinking that it means like you squirm when you watch it or difficult to watch, especially with the examples Salo and Audition. Since Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, was used as an example, I'll go ahead and I'll come up with another one, and that would be a Serbian film. Whew. You get to learn a lot about yourself as an audience, where you draw the line when it comes to horror. A lot of lines are created in this movie. If you haven't seen it, I give you a warning. It's tough. Let's check out the next question, which is, who's your favorite killer flick final girl other than Jamie Lee? With that question posed that way, I'm assuming that you mean who's your favorite actress, not character. If we're talking about actresses, I do enjoy Danielle Harris, and I enjoy Neve Campbell. Now, if we're talking about characters, I'm going to say Sidney Prescott is one of my favorite final girls, played by Neve Campbell. But my very favorite final girl character would be Ginny Field from Friday the 13th Part 2, played by Amy Steele. And the next question is, which killer flick has scarred you for life? I am going to say The Bye-Bye Man. That movie. I am so ticked that I watched that movie. And let me pause for self-promotion. You can go ahead and click the link above. That is a review, recap, react of The Bye-Bye Man, where I rip it to shreds. Why? Because it stinks on ice. Now, if you're talking about a movie that made me linger and think about it afterwards because it kind of scarred me, I'm going to say Salo, 120 Days of Sodom. That is a rough movie too. Let's see, the next one is, what killer flick has the most killer soundtrack? By far, hands down. Do you see what I just did there? I'm going to say the Lost Boys soundtrack. That is by far the best soundtrack, horror movie-wise, that I've heard. I loved the song Cry Little Sister. It is done by Gerard McMahon. He goes by G. Tom Mack now. But you got NXS on there, a whole bunch of other good bands. Echo and the Bunnymen do a really good cover of The Doors' People Are Strange. And speaking of covers, Roger Daltrey also does a cover of Elton John's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Just so good. Check out the soundtrack. Check out the movie if you haven't seen the movie either. The following question is, what is the single greatest kill in a killer flick? Well, I kind of gave this answer in a previous tag video, which was the Horror Fiend tag video. So let me pause for self-promotion. You can go ahead and check that link and watch that one as well. The kill comes from 1931's Frankenstein, where Boris Karloff plays the monster on there. And he kills a little girl thinking that she's going to float in the water, because him and the little girl are throwing flowers into the water, so he tosses the girl and she can't swim, but he thinks that she's going to float.
Oh yes, they float.
Going to the next question, what do you think is the best performance in a killer flick? This would be The War of the Two Anthonys for me. I'm talking about Anthony Perkins in Psycho and Anthony Hopkins in Magic. If you want to see the subtle or over-the-top psychotic breakdown of a character, check these out. Both actors do a fine job on being completely nuts. The next question is, which killer flick horror location would you like to visit? Well, I've wanted to see this place for quite some time. Let me go ahead and put a picture of it right up there right now. It is called Oakley Court, a Victorian Gothic country house that is on 35 acres overlooking the River Thames in Berkshire, England. It is now a luxury hotel, but was home to 5 Hammer horror films and is probably best known for being Dr. Frankenfurter's Castle, aka the Frankenstein Place, from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And the final question is, are there any killers from a killer flick that you sympathize with? Yes! Yes, I do, and that is Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I don't say it because I played the guy at Halloween Horror Nights. I'm talking about the fact that he was portrayed to be beaten and scared. He is a scared individual. Actually, Gunnar Hansen, who was the actor that played him in the original movie, and Tobe Hooper, who was the creator of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the director of the original film, said, they've gone on the record now, they've said that Leatherface was scared of his family, but he was also scared of the fact that people invaded into his house. So he killed out of self-defense, out of sheer fear. That is one of the reasons why Gunnar Hansen's so frantic in the movie. It's not that he's angry, he's freaking out. And I feel sorry for that, because he's basically a beaten individual, and he's afraid that because these people have come into the house, that he could be beaten up by his older brother, the cook. And yes, the cook is his older brother. I don't get where people keep on saying that he's the dad. There is no dad in this family. Just because the actor is old doesn't mean that he's the dad. The 3 of them were brothers, and they had no paternal or maternal supervision in this whatsoever. That is one of the reasons why there's a breakdown in the family. And with that, these are my answers for the Killer Flick Tag video. So do you agree with me or disagree with me? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And remember, like, share, subscribe, plus hit that bell icon so you get notified the moment I upload. And I will see you in the next video.